Noah Carter looked out the viewport of the diplomatic shuttle as it approached Proxima Station. The massive structure hung in space like a shining wheel, with spokes extending from its central hub. At 12 years old, Noah had never been this far from Earth before. The stars looked different here, and that both scared and excited him. "Remember to stay close to me at all times," his mother said. Samantha Carter adjusted her diplomatic uniform and brushed a strand of blonde hair behind her ear. "The station will be crowded with beings from all over the galaxy." "I know, Mom," Noah said, rolling his eyes in that way only preteens could master. "You've told me 100 times." Samantha smiled, but her eyes remained serious. As Earth's diplomatic attaché, she knew how important this meeting was. Humanity had achieved faster than light travel only 80 years ago. They were newcomers on the galactic stage, and many of the older species still viewed them with suspicion or contempt. The shuttle docked with a gentle bump. Noah grabbed his backpack as the doors hissed open. The air that rushed in smelled strange, clean but with unfamiliar undertones. The diplomatic team filed out, led by Ambassador Richard Bennett, a tall man with graying hair and a confident stride. "This way to the council chambers," a guide said. The being had blue skin and 4 arms. Noah tried not to stare. Proxima Station served as the headquarters for the Intergalactic Council, the governing body that had maintained peace among the 7 major civilizations for thousands of years. Earth wanted a seat at that table. Today's meeting would determine if humans were evolved enough to join. The council chambers were enormous. The ceiling arched high above, covered in symbols from 100 worlds. 7 massive chairs formed a semicircle on a raised platform. Each seat represented one of the founding species of the council. "Wow," Noah whispered. "They're huge." The Vorathi representatives were particularly intimidating. Standing over 8 feet tall with ridged skin and eyes that glowed amber, they looked like they could snap a human in half without effort. Their delegation sat to the right, separate from the other species. The session began with formal introductions. Ambassador Bennett presented Earth's petition for membership, highlighting human achievements in science, art, and peaceful cooperation. "Humans learn quickly," Bennett said. "We may be young as a spacefaring species, but we bring fresh perspectives and unlimited potential." A Vorathi council member named Drac leaned forward. "Your kind spreads like a virus," he said, voice rumbling through the chamber. "You breed without control and consume resources at alarming rates. The galaxy cannot sustain such behavior." Noah frowned. He'd learned about Earth's environmental restoration projects in school. Humans had made mistakes, but they'd fixed many of them too. The debate grew heated. Other council members seemed more accepting of humans, but the Vorathi remained hostile. Noah noticed a group of Vorathi observers whispering among themselves, their expressions growing angrier by the minute. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A loud bang echoed through the chamber. Smoke poured from vents along the wall. "Security breach," someone shouted. People began to run. Noah lost sight of his mother in the chaos. "Mom," he called, pushing against the flow of bodies. A group of Vorathi rushed past, knocking Noah to the ground. He scrambled to his feet, only to find himself face to face with a Vorathi wearing ceremonial robes. "Evolutionary aberration," the alien hissed, raising a weapon. Noah didn't understand what happened next. There was a flash of light, a burning pain, and then darkness. When the smoke cleared and order was restored, Samantha Carter found her son's body near the council platform. Her screams echoed through the now silent chamber. The council called it an unfortunate accident. They offered condolences and a small payment as reparation. The Vorathi extremists who had planned the attack were being investigated, they assured Ambassador Bennett. 3 days later, the Earth delegation returned home with Noah's body. Ambassador Bennett's face was grim as he delivered the council's official ruling to President Powell. The message was clear. Human lives were cheap in the eyes of the galaxy. What the council didn't know was how Earth would respond. The funeral for Noah Carter was broadcast worldwide. Millions watched as the small coffin, draped in the United Earth flag, was lowered into the ground. Samantha Carter stood motionless, her face blank with grief. President Elaine Powell placed a supportive hand on her shoulder before stepping to the podium. "Today we mourn not just a child, but our innocence," the president said. Her voice was steady, but her knuckles turned white as she gripped the podium. "The galaxy has shown us their view of humanity, and we have heard them clearly." After the ceremony, President Powell called an emergency meeting. The White House Situation Room was filled with Earth's highest military and intelligence officials. The mood was somber but charged with barely contained anger. "The Council has made their position clear," Powell said, looking at each person around the table. "They value human life less than an apology." Admiral Jack Sullivan, head of Earth Fleet Command, cleared his throat. A career officer with 40 years of service, Sullivan had always advocated for caution in galactic affairs. Today, he looked different. Resolved. "Madam President, it's time to discuss Project Lazarus." The room fell silent. Most people there had never heard this name before. "You have authorization," Powell said. Sullivan nodded to his aide, who distributed sealed folders to everyone present. "What I'm about to share has been classified at the highest level for nearly 50 years, Sullivan began. "Before we made peaceful contact with alien civilizations, Earth prepared for the worst." He pressed a button. A holographic display appeared above the table showing Saturn and its rings. "During the darkest days of the Cold War and after, we built ships, lots of ships. We called it the insurance policy against hostile aliens. When first contact proved peaceful, the program was officially shut down." "Officially?" asked General Linda Nichols, raising an eyebrow. "The fleet was never dismantled," Sullivan continued. "Instead, it was hidden within Saturn's rings and inside hollowed-out moons of Jupiter. For decades, we've secretly maintained and upgraded these vessels using reverse-engineered alien technology we've acquired through trade and intelligence operations." The hologram changed to show hundreds of ships of various sizes, hidden among the icy rocks of Saturn's rings. "How many?" asked Secretary of Defense Paul Martinez. 317 combat-ready vessels," Sullivan replied. "From small strike craft to capital ships that could match anything in the Council's armada. We have trained crews standing by, people who officially work for deep space mining operations and outer planet research stations." President Powell stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the Washington Monument in the distance. "If we activate this fleet, we'll be declaring war on the Intergalactic Council," she said. "They represent 7 of the most powerful civilizations in known space." "With respect, Madam President," Sullivan said, "they declared war on us when they killed Noah Carter and called it an accident." The room erupted in discussion. Some argued for diplomatic solutions. Others demanded immediate action. Through it all, Powell remained silent, thinking. Finally, she turned back to the table. "They believe we're primitive," she said quietly. "They think we'll accept whatever scraps of justice they offer. They're wrong." She sat down and placed her palms flat on the table. "Admiral Sullivan, you have authorization to activate Operation Reckoning. I want that fleet ready to move in 48 hours. Sullivan nodded grimly. "And get me Samantha Carter," Powell added. "She deserves to know what we're about to do in her son's name." As the meeting ended, Sullivan took a small device from his pocket. It looked like an ordinary communication unit, but when he pressed his thumb to its surface, it scanned his fingerprint and revealed a hidden compartment. Inside was a single key. The activation codes for Earth's hidden fleet had been split among 5 senior commanders. For 50 years, no single person had been able to wake the sleeping giants in the outer solar system. That was about to change. In the cold darkness beyond Saturn, ancient warships began to power up their systems for the first time in decades. Earth was going to war. Lieutenant Commander Maya Rodriguez stared out the shuttle window as they approached the massive warship. The EDF Vengeance floated in the darkness of space, its hull black against the stars. Ice particles from Saturn's rings glittered around it like diamonds. "It's bigger than I expected," she said to the pilot. "Wait until you see it powered up," the pilot replied with a grin. "I've been maintaining these beauties for 15 years in secret. Never thought we'd actually use them." The shuttle docked with a gentle thud. Maya grabbed her duffel bag and stepped through the airlock. The ship's corridors were cold, the metal floors echoing with her footsteps. Emergency lights cast everything in a dim red glow. Captain Daniel Grant met her at the bridge. He was older than Maya expected, with salt and pepper hair and deep lines around his eyes. "Welcome aboard, Rodriguez," Grant said, shaking her hand firmly. "I read your service record. Impressive tactics during the Jupiter pirate incident." "Thank you, sir," Maya replied. She didn't mention that the pirate incident had been tiny compared to what they were about to face. "You'll be my second in command," Grant continued, leading her to a control station. "I need someone who thinks differently. The aliens will expect us to fight like them. We won't." Around them, the bridge crew worked quickly to bring ancient systems online. Some consoles were familiar military standard. Others had clearly been modified with alien technology, their surfaces glowing with strange symbols. "Captain," a young officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Retribution. Admiral Sullivan is aboard and wants to speak with all ship commanders." The main screen flickered to life. Admiral Sullivan's face appeared, looking tired but determined. "The time has come," Sullivan said without preamble. "For 50 years, we prepared for this day while hoping it would never arrive. Each of your ships was built when humanity feared the stars. Now we know our fear was justified." The Admiral paused, his expression hardening. "The Intergalactic Council believes we are weak. They killed a child and offered us empty words. Today, we show them the truth about humanity." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. She had joined Earth's defense forces to protect people, not start wars. But the image of Noah Carter's small coffin was still fresh in everyone's mind. Sullivan continued, "All ships will emerge from hiding in precisely 6 hours. Operation Reckoning begins then." The screen split to show a woman in civilian clothes standing beside Sullivan. Her face was familiar from the news. "This is Samantha Carter," Sullivan said, "Noah's mother. She has joined us as a civilian advisor. Remember her face when you wonder why we fight." Samantha's eyes were hollow with grief, but her voice was steady. "Make them remember my son's name." The transmission ended. The bridge was silent for a moment. "All stations, report," Captain Grant ordered, breaking the spell. Maya moved to her position, checking system readouts. The ancient ship was coming alive around them, power flowing through circuits that had been dormant for decades. Across the solar system, the same scene played out on hundreds of vessels. Ships hidden in Saturn's rings disengaged their camouflage systems. Massive hangar doors opened in Jupiter's moons, releasing destroyers and cruisers. A fleet designed for humanity's darkest hour emerged from shadow. On distant Proxima Station, a junior council analyst noticed unusual energy readings from Earth's solar system. He reported it to his superior, a Vorathi named K'Zal. "The humans are moving ships," the analyst said. "Many ships." Saul studied the readings with a frown. "Probably their normal patrol vessels. Their fleet is primitive and small." "Sir, these readings suggest hundreds of vessels, much larger than any registered Earth ship." Saul dismissed the concern with a wave of his hand. "Sensor malfunction. Humans are peaceful traders, not warriors. They'll accept the Council's ruling about the child and move on." He closed the report without further investigation. It would be the Council's first mistake of many. The jump point opened like a flower of light against the blackness of space. One by one, Earth's ships emerged near Vorathi Prime. The massive blue-green planet hung before them, surrounded by defense stations and orbital cities. On the bridge of the EDF Retribution, Captain Grant watched the Vorathi orbital defenses light up in alarm. "They're raising shields," reported Maya from her station. "Defense grid is powering weapons." As expected, Grant said calmly, "Open a channel to their high command." The main screen flickered, revealing a Vorathi official. His amber eyes widened at the sight of Grant. "This is Captain Daniel Grant of Earth Fleet," Grant said, his voice level. "We are here for justice. Surrender those responsible for the death of Noah Carter immediately." The Vorathi official recovered his composure. "You dare bring warships to a council world? This violation will not stand. Leave immediately or face destruction." Grant smiled without humor. "Look outside your window. Count our ships. Then decide if you want this to get ugly." The screen went dark as the Vorathi cut the transmission. "They're activating their defense grid," Maya reported. "Orbital platforms targeting our vessels." Grant nodded. "Execute Phase 1. Throughout the fleet, small craft launched from larger ships. Each carried a specialized EMP device designed to disable rather than destroy. Within minutes, they surrounded the planet's defense grid." Maya watched her tactical display as hundreds of small dots moved into position. "All units in place, Captain." "Fire," Grant ordered. The EMP devices activated simultaneously. Across Vorathi Prime's orbit, defense platforms went dark. Weapons powered down. Communication systems failed. The entire defense grid collapsed without firing a single shot. "Phase 1 complete," Maya announced. "All Vorathi defenses neutralized. No casualties." On the planet below, panic spread through the Vorathi government. Their supposedly impenetrable defenses had been disabled in minutes by a species they considered primitive. "Phase 2, Grant ordered. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, lead the strike team." Maya nodded and left the bridge. She had been training for this mission since leaving Earth. Her team consisted of 20 soldiers in advanced stealth armor. Their dropship launched from the Vengeance, its cloaking technology making it invisible to any remaining Vorathi sensors. They landed near the capital city, where intelligence indicated the extremist faction responsible for Noah's death was hiding. The Vorathi had never expected an attack on their homeworld. Their security was focused outward, not inward. Maya led her team through the streets, following coordinates provided by Earth intelligence. They reached a compound guarded by Vorathi soldiers. "Non-lethal takedown," Maya ordered. "We want prisoners, not martyrs." The team moved with precision. Stun weapons dropped the guards without sound. Within minutes, they breached the compound's walls. Inside, they found 7 Vorathi in ceremonial robes, the same robes worn by the extremist who had killed Noah. Maya recognized the leader from security footage of the incident. "By authority of Earth, you are under arrest for the murder of Noah Carter," Maya said, her weapon trained on the Vorathi leader. "The Council will never allow this," the Vorathi snarled. "We are protected." "Look outside," Maya replied. "Your protection is gone." Back in orbit, Captain Grant received word of the successful capture. He opened a channel to all Vorathi frequencies. "People of Vorathi Prime, we have captured those responsible for killing an innocent human child. We did this without taking a single Vorathi life, showing more mercy than was shown to Noah Carter." He paused, letting his words sink in. "The Intergalactic Council told Earth to accept your murderers walking free. We refused. Remember this day. Remember what happens when you harm a human child and expect no consequences." On distant Council worlds, leaders watched in shock as Earth's primitive fleet effortlessly neutralized one of the most heavily defended planets in the galaxy. On the Council headquarters, Xal reviewed the reports with growing dread. What had they awakened? Alarms blared throughout the Council headquarters. Emergency sessions were called as news of Earth's attack on Vorathi Prime spread across the galaxy. The 7 Council members gathered in their private chamber, faces grim. "This is unprecedented," said the Zerax representative, a tall being with silver skin. "No non-Council species has ever dared attack a founding world. The humans must be punished," the Vorathi councillor demanded, pounding his fist on the table. "Send the peacekeeping armada immediately." After heated debate, the council voted. The decision was unanimous. Earth had violated galactic law and must be stopped. The Council's peacekeeping armada, the largest military force in the galaxy, was ordered to Earth. Admiral Vextar, the most decorated fleet commander in Council history, stood on the bridge of his flagship. Behind him, 500 warships prepared to jump. "These humans think their little fleet is impressive," Vextar said to his officers. "We will show them what real power looks like." The armada entered jump points, the massive energy signatures lighting up space like newborn stars. On Earth, Admiral Sullivan studied the tactical display showing the Council fleet's approach. He smiled slightly, which confused the officers around him. "Sir, the Council fleet has entered jump space," an analyst reported. "Estimated arrival at Neptune defensive line in 6 hours." "Perfect," Sullivan replied. "Activate the jump point disruptors." Across the solar system, hidden devices powered up. Earth scientists had spent decades studying alien jump technology and had created a countermeasure, devices that could destabilize jump points, forcing ships to exit at predetermined locations. Phase 2 of Operation Reckoning is now active, Sullivan announced. "All battle groups prepare for engagement." Earth's fleet had already split into 3 separate forces. Captain Grant led Battle Group Alpha toward the Council headquarters. Commander Alan Foster took Battle Group Beta to secure critical supply worlds, and newly promoted Commander Rodriguez positioned Battle Group Gamma near Neptune to protect Earth. It was Rodriguez's force that would face the Council armada first. All ships in defensive formation, Maya ordered from the bridge of the EDF Vengeance. Her promotion had come quickly after the successful Vorathi mission. "Remember your training. They're expecting us to fight like they do. We won't." The Council armada emerged from jump space exactly where Earth had planned, directly in front of Neptune's orbit. The massive blue planet loomed behind them, its moons seemingly innocent. Admiral Vextar was pleased. His fleet had arrived intact and in perfect formation. His tactical officer reported only a small human fleet ahead, barely 50 ships. "Pathetic," Vextar said. "They send this tiny force to face us. Open fire and end this quickly." The Council ships launched their first volley. Advanced energy weapons streaked across space toward Earth's vessels. But Maya was ready. "Evasive pattern Delta," she ordered. The human ships moved in ways that confused Council targeting systems, breaking formation, using irregular patterns, even flying directly toward the incoming fire before veering away at the last second. "What are they doing?" Vextar demanded as his weapons missed their targets. "Their movements make no sense." Then Neptune's moons came alive. What the Council had thought were natural satellites revealed themselves as disguised fortress stations. Hidden weapons platforms emerged from craters and canyons. "Sir, we're detecting new energy signatures from Neptune's moons," Vextar's officer reported, voice rising in alarm. "Hundreds of them." "Impossible," Vextar snapped. "There was nothing in our intelligence about." He never finished the sentence. Earth's hidden defenses opened fire, catching the Council fleet in a devastating crossfire. Meanwhile, Maya's ships executed a maneuver no Council admiral would ever consider. They charged directly into the heart of the enemy formation. "All ships, initiate boarding protocols," Maya ordered. "Target their command vessels." Her target was the flagship, Admiral Vextar's own vessel. As chaos erupted around them, Earth Marines used short-range jump technology to bypass the flagship's shields and board directly. 30 minutes later, Maya stood on the bridge of the captured Council flagship, Admiral Vextar kneeling before her in restraints. "This is impossible," he whispered. "You are primitives. How could you?" Maya looked down at him coldly. "You killed a child and thought there would be no consequences. That was your mistake." The captured Council flagship moved slowly through space, now under Earth control. Inside, Commander Maya Rodriguez walked the alien corridors with a squad of Marines. The ship was massive, with technology beyond anything humans had officially developed. "Secure these terminals," Maya ordered as they entered the main data center. "Download everything you can." One of her officers, Lieutenant Kim, worked quickly at an alien console. "Commander, there's something strange here. The security protocols are familiar." "What do you mean familiar?" Maya asked, looking over Kim's shoulder. "Some of these encryption methods look like advanced versions of our own systems, almost as if." A sound at the doorway made them turn. A Vorathi in a council uniform stood there, hands raised. "Do not shoot," the alien said. "I wish to speak with your commander." Maya raised her weapon. "I am Commander Rodriguez. Give me one good reason not to stun you." "My name is Xlal, Intelligence Officer for Council Security Division. I have information about the boy who was killed. Information your people should know." Maya studied him carefully. Intelligence had identified Xlal as an important figure, but not necessarily an enemy. "Search him," she ordered. After confirming he was unarmed, Maya had Xlal brought to a secure room. Captain Grant joined via secure communication from the Retribution, now heading toward Council headquarters. "The Council is not what you think it is," Xlal began. "I have served for 20 years, and in that time, I have gathered evidence of corruption at the highest levels." "Why tell us this?" Grant asked, his image flickering on the screen. "Because what happened to the human child was wrong," Xlal replied. "It was not a random act of extremism. It was planned." Maya felt cold anger rise inside her. "Planned? You're saying the Council ordered the murder of a 12-year-old boy?" "Not the full Council," Xlal clarified. 3 of the 7 Council races had no knowledge. "But the others?" He plugged a small device into the room's terminal. "See for yourself." Documents appeared on the screen. Communications between high-ranking officials, secret meetings, plans drafted months before Noah Carter ever set foot on Proxima Station. "They needed to assess human military capability," Xlal explained. "They wanted to provoke a response, but one that would appear justified to the rest of the galaxy. So they killed a child," Grant said, his voice tight with controlled rage. "The logic was that humans are protective of their young. A child's death would guarantee reaction, while still seeming like an unfortunate accident to outsiders." Xlal looked down. "I did not know until after. When I questioned it, I was told to ignore the matter." Maya studied the alien carefully. "Why are you betraying your people?" "They betrayed themselves first," Xlal answered. "The Council was created to maintain peace, not manipulate species for power. This has happened before." More files appeared, records of other rising civilizations that had been tested, manipulated, or eliminated when they grew too powerful too quickly. "Humans are advancing faster than any species in Council records," Xlal continued. "This frightens the old powers. They fear you will replace them." While this conversation took place, Samantha Carter was working in another section of the captured flagship. As Noah's mother and a skilled diplomat, she had volunteered to help decode Council communications. When Maya showed her Xlal's evidence, her hand shook with a mixture of grief and fury. "I want to speak with this Vorathi," Samantha said. Their meeting was brief. Xlal bowed his head in a gesture of respect and sorrow. "I cannot undo what happened to your child, but I can help ensure it never happens again." Together, they began extracting more information from the Council's secret archives. The evidence was damning. Plans to eventually subjugate Earth, to restrict human expansion, to keep humanity as a minor power in the galaxy. Captain Grant's face grew harder as he reviewed the findings. His fleet was now approaching Council headquarters. The original plan had been to demand justice through force. Now, they had something more powerful: truth. Change of plans, Grant announced to his officers. "We're still going to the Council station, but not just as warriors. We're going as prosecutors." The massive ring-shaped Council headquarters spun slowly against the backdrop of stars. Captain Grant stood on the bridge of the EDF Retribution as his fleet approached. 50 Earth warships moved in tight formation, weapons ready but not yet active. "Open a channel to the council chamber," Grant ordered. "All frequencies." Instead of attacking, the Earth fleet had taken position around the station. Council security ships scrambled to form a defensive line, but they were hopelessly outnumbered. "This is Captain Daniel Grant of Earth Fleet. I request an immediate audience with the full council. We come with evidence, not just weapons." Inside the council chamber, panic spread among the representatives. Some called for evacuation, others for fighting to the death. The 7 main council members sat in emergency session, divided on how to respond. "We should speak with them," said the Elori representative, whose species was known for diplomacy. "They could have attacked without warning, yet they asked to talk." "It's a trick," said the Vorathi counselor. "Humans are deceptive by nature." After debate, the council agreed to hear Earth's message. Captain Grant was invited to the chamber with a small delegation. Grant entered flanked by Samantha Carter and Xal, the Vorathi intelligence officer who had defected. The council members murmured in surprise at seeing one of their own with the humans. "You stand in violation of every council law," began the head counselor, a Jarax named Trell. "Your fleet will be destroyed for this transgression." Grant smiled calmly. "Before you make threats, I suggest you watch this." He nodded to Samantha, who activated a device. Holographic images appeared in the center of the chamber, classified council documents, secret communications, and video recordings. These files were provided by Intelligence Officer Xal, Grant explained. They proved that Noah Carter's death was not an accident, but a calculated act authorized by certain council members. The chamber erupted in shocked exclamations as the evidence played out. Communications between Vorathi and Jarax officials revealed a conspiracy to test human military response by creating an incident. The killing of a child had been deemed most likely to provoke reaction while appearing accidental. "This is fabricated," shouted the Vorathi counselor, rising from his seat. "It is not," said Xal, stepping forward. "I accessed these files myself when I became suspicious of orders to downplay human fleet movements. What we did was dishonorable." The Elori, Navik, and Breen council members, 3 of the 7 founding species, appeared genuinely shocked by the revelations. "We had no knowledge of this," the Elori representative said, her voice trembling with anger. "The council does not condone the murder of children as political strategy." "We have more," Grant continued. "Records showing that for thousands of years, certain council members have deliberately suppressed rising species when they threaten the established order. 26 civilizations have been manipulated into self-destruction when they developed too quickly." Samantha stepped forward, her face composed but her eyes burning with determination. "My son died because you feared what humanity might become. You thought killing a child would show your power. Instead, it revealed your weakness." As the evidence mounted, the council chamber divided. The Elori, Navik, and Breen representatives moved away from their Vorathi, Jarax, and Quilari colleagues. The 7th species, the Mravani, remained neutral, watching carefully. Suddenly, the Jarax counselor pressed a hidden button on his chair. "This has gone far enough. If we cannot rule the galaxy, no one will." Alarm signals blared throughout the station. "Self-destruct sequence initiated," announced an automated voice. "Station will detonate in 5 minutes." The chamber erupted in chaos. Even council members who weren't part of the conspiracy looked horrified. "We can stop this," Grant shouted above the noise. Commander Rodriguez captured override codes from Admiral Vextar's flagship. He activated his communicator. "Rodriguez, we need those codes now." From the captured council flagship near Neptune, Maya transmitted the security override. Grant entered the sequence into the council's main computer. "Self-destruct canceled," the automated voice announced. "Security protocols engage." Station security forces, now aware of the conspiracy, moved to detain the Vorathi, Jarax, and Quilari representatives. For the first time in 12,000 years, the Intergalactic Council faced internal revolution. As order slowly returned to the chamber, Grant faced the remaining council members. Earth doesn't want war. We want justice. What happens next is your choice. 6 months later, Samantha Carter stood by a window in the newly renamed Unity Station, watching ships arrive from across the galaxy. The former council headquarters now served as the center of a different kind of interstellar government. The black and silver ships of Earth's fleet patrolled alongside vessels from 20 other species. "The Navik delegation has arrived," said Xal, now Earth's chief advisor on alien relations. The former intelligence officer had become a symbol of the new order, someone willing to stand against corruption even within his own species. "Good," Samantha replied. "That's the last group we were waiting for." She touched the small pendant she always wore, a tiny glass sphere containing a lock of Noah's hair. Her son's death had changed the galaxy forever. Some days that knowledge brought comfort. Other days, nothing could fill the hole in her heart. The Great Assembly Hall had been redesigned. Instead of 7 massive chairs arranged in a display of power, a circular table with equal seats surrounded a central podium. Representatives from 32 species, including those that had been suppressed by the old council, filed in and took their places. President Powell had traveled from Earth for this historic day. She nodded to Samantha as they entered together. "Are you ready?" Powell asked quietly. Samantha took a deep breath. "As ready as I'll ever be." The hall fell silent as Samantha stepped to the podium. Translators ensured her words would reach every being present. "6 months ago, my son Noah was killed in this very station," she began. Her voice was steady now, strengthened by purpose. His death exposed a system built on fear and control that had lasted for thousands of years. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of beings from worlds whose names she was still learning to pronounce. "Today, we form something new. Not a council that rules from above, but an alliance that works together. Every world, regardless of how long they have traveled the stars, will have an equal voice." On screens throughout the station and across countless worlds, billions watched as the Galactic Alliance Charter was signed. The first signatures came from the Alori, Navik, and Breen, former council races who had rejected their colleagues' corruption. Then Earth, represented by President Powell. One by one, representatives from each world added their marks. In orbit around the station, Captain Grant watched from the bridge of the Retribution. His ship had become a symbol, not of vengeance, as its name suggested, but of humanity's determination. "Captain," said his communications officer, "Commander Rodriguez is requesting to speak with you." Grant smiled. "Put her through." Maya's face appeared on screen. She wore the new uniform of the Alliance Defense Force. "Congratulations, Admiral Grant," she said with a grin. "Looks like your promotion came through." "Yours too, Captain Rodriguez," he replied. "How does it feel to command the Vengeance?" "Strange," she admitted, "but we're renamed her. She's the EDF Hope now. Seemed more appropriate for our new mission." Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. Both officers checked their screens. "The Long-Range Exploration Directive," Grant said. "We've been assigned to chart the regions the old council declared forbidden." Maya nodded. "I've seen the briefing. There are entire civilizations out there that were isolated by council decree. Time to make some new friends." As the ceremony concluded, Samantha stepped away from the podium. A small group of children from various species had been invited to witness the historic event. They approached her shyly. A young Alori child stepped forward. "Is it true? A human child changed everything." Samantha knelt down to meet the child's eyes. "Yes, my son Noah showed the galaxy that every life matters, no matter how small or young." Behind them, a statue had been erected in the center of the hall. It depicted not a grand warrior or politician, but a 12-year-old boy looking up at the stars with wonder. The plaque at its base read in multiple languages, "Noah Carter of Earth, from his innocent life came a new beginning. From great sorrow came great change. May we remember." The ancient fleet, once hidden, now served as the foundation of a defense force that protected rather than threatened. And somewhere among the stars, new worlds waited to join a galaxy forever changed by the courage of humanity and the legacy of one small boy.